What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to do a video on mods. What are mods? What mods you should be putting on which planes? What are the best mods? And we're going to rank the mods from best to worst, or from worst to best. We got our good friend Ace with us again today. He's going to help us out with the video. Ace from Vanguard Elite. He's helped us out with the last couple videos. We appreciate him coming on right here. So guys, if you see him, give him a shout out, when you're playing. He helps us out. A very knowledgeable person. What's up, Ace? He's with us right now.
Good morning. How's it going?
All right. So we're going to talk about mods today. We are going to give away a gold code at some point in this video, so make sure you don't leave. If you leave now, you could miss it. We will give away a code at some point. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Every video that you like and comment on will get you in the running for gold codes that we give away. 100 free gold. You don't want to miss it. So we're going to choose a winner from a random video, and that will happen at some point later on in the video. So without further ado, let's get into it. Mods. What are mods, and how to use them? So these are mods. When you get to level 16, you don't start collecting mods or mod tokens, which these are mod tokens, and these are, button. I'm sorry, guys. Bear with me. And these are mod materials, right? Or did I get them backwards?
I think you got them backwards, because if you click on if you go to the back to the hang and you click on that, should be mod materials. Yeah.
So these are mod materials. This little symbol here, and these are mod tokens. So you do not start collecting these mods until you get an aircraft at level 16. So don't fret if you're new to the game. You'll eventually get there. You do want to put an aircraft, as we mentioned in the previous videos, at level 16 as soon as possible. Even if it's just an aircraft, you just put the level 16 just to start collecting these mods. You'll see later on in the video why it's so important to do that as soon as possible. These are kind of like blueprints. They drop very rarely, and some of them are extremely important and some of them are less important. Kind of get an idea, a little spoiler from how many I have and how many I don't have, but we're going to go into that. We're going to give you everything you need to know about these mods. So without further ado, let's get started on the video. Mods, basically you want to be taking your plane to level 20, because at level 16 you get your first mod, and at level 20 you get your second mod. And so once you start playing level 16s, you're going to end up playing level 20s. It's 4 levels up, 4 levels down. We did a video on how matchmaking works. I'll put the link to that video in the description. That was a while ago, so you kind of figure out. So if you can put it to 16, you want to try to put it to 20, because then you get your second mod slot. So we're going to let Ace explain a little bit more, what each mod is. He has a ranking for you. We kind of agreed on the ranking, and, we'll let him take over and explain them to you and which planes you should be putting them on. And, just to give you an example, so I don't forget when Ace starts getting into it, Daredevil and Disruptive are going to be your best mods for any plane, and that's not an interceptor. And any interceptor, you're going to want improved targeting and faster flares. So there is an argument to be had to put disruptive flares on an interceptor. It depends on gameplay and style, but for me, I like to have faster flares and improved targeting on an interceptor. And I'll give you an example, like the F-14. I have improved targeting, maxed out, and faster flares. And then on a plane like a light fighter, I have, Daredevil and Disruptive. We'll tell you more about what they are and what they do. Ace will explain more of that to you. And then you're going to find out there's times where you can't put Daredevil and Disruptive on a plane. Like, for example, my A6 here. I would love to have Daredevil and Disruptive on my A6, but I have faster flares and finishing guns. Now, why don't I just add Daredevil and Disruptive? Because I don't have any Daredevil, and I only have 3 Disruptive flares. So unless you can really max them out, you're better off having a maxed out faster flares than a level 1 Daredevil. But there's an argument to be said that maybe level 1 Daredevil is better than maxed out. So if you play it at a certain style, this kind of works. Now, there are times you can put streak armor or thrust booster. Ace will get into more of that. But just for my opinion, I ran out of Daredevil and Disruptive, and I had a level 20. I had to put mods on it. So I put faster flares and finishing guns. Kind of does the trick. And then another thing, too, You don't really want to waste your Daredevil on an A6 if you're not going to be playing the A6 a lot. You kind of want to save your Daredevil and Disruptive for playing, like, for example, I'm going to take the ADV to level 20, and then I'm going to want to put Daredevil and Disruptive. I have all the parts and enough silver to take, where is my ADV? I have enough parts and silver to take my ADV to level 20, but I don't have any Daredevil, and I only have 3 Disruptive Flares. Now I could do faster flares and Daredevil. That could probably work too, but anyway. Let's let Ace explain. He's going to give you a ranking, and he's going to explain the mods and what they do, and then we'll go from there. Take it over, buddy.
All right. So first of all, oh, might want to turn your invites off.
Yeah, let's do that. Wait, go ahead.
Oh, but poor Raven's gonna be upset.
Oh, well.
By the way, you can click that button to the left and it goes right to off.
What,
Whatever. Anyways,
what button to the left? Hold on. Let's teach everybody something. This button? This
so yeah,
button?
click the button at the bottom.
Okay.
Now on the left, go back to all.
Okay.
So when you're at all, just click the left one,
Oh, okay.
not the right one,
Oh,
and boom, all the way off.
okay. You saved me a click, a half a second. Okay. All right.
There we
Makes
go.
sense.
You're welcome, bro. But here's the thing: if it's a half a second for like all your subscribers, it's hours and hours.
Oh, well, yeah, that makes sense.
Anyways, so yeah, we're doing a ranked list. First, I did want to mention and agree with Bruce. Every single plane in the game, put Daredevil and Disruptive on interceptors, put faster flares and improved targeting. Um, the main thing for the list is kind of niche uses, and when you run out of Daredevil and Disruptive, because mods are random, there's no mod shop, I don't believe. So a lot of times you have to get them in crates, or if you get lucky in the A shop. I would not recommend buying them in the A shop. I would always recommend saving every single point, every single ace coin for blueprints, but they do
Yeah.
sometimes pop in there. So
He's
you
talking about
can
right
buy mods
here.
if they pop up there. Yeah, see that?
I would
Oh my
save
gosh,
these
that is
for
the
blueprints,
worst.
though. Yeah.
Yeah, always save those for blueprints, but that is one of the worst deals. Go back to that deal. That is the
Yeah.
number one thing you should never. I
Yeah.
would never buy a mod in the Ace shop at all, but 300 for ideal maneuvering.
It's not worth
That's
it.
just garbage. Garbage. Anyways, we'll go to the
Let
list.
me cut you.
Um,
Before you get into it, let me explain one thing so we don't forget. So if you see the star here, that means I've already equipped this. Now, for example, I bought streak armor on this A6, right? Um, so once I buy it, I can change these around. So for example, I can equip this right here. I don't want to forget to take it back because I've already maxed it out. Now I have an blast resistance. I can craft that. We can craft that. Boom, I'm just going to show you. And now once we craft that, we can equip it. And then we can switch these around. So you can actually max them out, but you don't want to be wasting these. The reason why I have streak armor is because when you end up farming, like let's say you're playing bots, you're better off with like streak armor and faster flares against bots. So I would do something like streak armor, and I would equip the streak armor, and then I would equip maxed faster flares. And so, like, let's say I'm in a party that I know I'm going to get bots. That's kind of what I would do, so they, makes get the matches over quicker. But once you craft this, though, it's only for that plane. Like, for example, I have thrust booster maxed out, but if I go to a different level 20 plane, it's only going to be on that plane. So, for example, my F100. Now watch me end up having thrust booster on this one. See how I have no thrust booster equipped? I would have to buy that and craft it. So just keep that in mind. Once you buy it, you can switch them out. So but don't waste your Daredevil and Disruptive on a plane that you're not going to want to fly. Like we'll get into more of that. What plane? Like Ace is going to tell you which planes you should be putting on. Sorry to cut you off, but I just didn't want to forget to say that.
now you're good. Okay, so there's 10 mods in the game. We'll rank them worst to best. So I'll start off with the worst mod, in my opinion. That's going to be efficient afterburners.
Efficient afterburners. That's going to be this one. Okay.
Yeah, actually, what's the max? Is it minus 30%?
I just
I
crafted
don't
it.
think I wouldn't be surprised if you don't have it maxed on any plane because that's a waste.
Damage taken from
But
missiles. Well, no, I can upgrade it because I'll never use them. So let's upgrade it and see.
no, that's blast resistance.
Oh, what was it?
I was talking about efficient afterburners because that's number 10 on
Oh,
the list.
okay. Equip that one.
Yeah, I don't think
So,
any of your planes
so we
have
can upgrade it.
efficient.
So to
I think it's
13%.
30. I think it's either 20 or 30%.
I'll
I
upgrade
think
it
it's
so you guys
20.
can
Yeah,
see.
it's 20.
Okay. This way you guys can see. All right.
Yeah, so efficient afterburners, it just reduces the fuel usage by 20%. So the problem with that is this isn't like it is the worst mod, not because it's bad, but because everything else is better. So minus 20% fuel usage, of course that can be helpful, but every other mod has way better benefits. If no other mod existed, of course I would put that on, but other mods are better. That's why it's at the bottom of the list. Another reason, like I've seen people put it on like farmers, and because it only has 9 seconds of fuel, because it is percentage based, you get it's less effective on planes that have less fuel, right? 20% of 9 seconds is crap, but an A6 has 30 seconds of fuel. So if you put that on an A6, it can hold its fuel a lot longer, but even still,
the
it's
A6 holds
it's
this
crap.
fuel long as enough anyway.
Yeah.
So
So when you go minus 20% fuel usage, you can hold it like almost the whole match. I tried it. I tried it on the A6, max efficient afterburners, and I was
yeah,
able to hold my afterburners for
I
like
think I tried it on the Frogfoot. Let's look. Go ahead. You keep talking. I'm just saying. I think I tried it on the
yeah, so
Frogfoot.
I was able to hold my fuel usage for like 35, 37 seconds straight or something crazy like that. And then the fuel recovered in like 10 seconds.
Oh, I didn't
And the
use
thing
it.
is I
Thrust
was
booster.
like, eh.
I used thrust
So
booster on the Frogfoot. Yeah.
yeah. So efficient afterburners is junk. Um I think I don't know of any other like real use for it, honestly. One of the only things that can be kind of fun is the fulcrum because the fulcrum has the fuel reload special and it also has fuel tanks. So if you put efficient afterburners on that, you could basically hold the afterburner like almost indefinitely because you have the extra fuel tanks, and all you gotta do is just fly through like the rearms to get more fuel, especially on like air sup stormbreak. You know how those rings line up all the way to enemy?
Yeah.
You with the fulcrum, you can fly through the first one, get your fuel back, fly through the ring in the middle, fly through the last one, and with efficient afterburners, fuel special fuel tanks that keep getting your fuel, you can hold your afterburners all the way to the end, which is actually kind of helpful. But other than that, like I don't know of any
But that's
other
if you have
play.
no other mods to put on there. Like if there's no other mods
Yeah,
and you just want to equip this while you're waiting for, a better mod. So
yeah. Sometimes I have heard one person say that like sometimes thrust booster makes the plane go so fast it gets out of the ideal turn speed. It goes faster than the ideal turn speed. So they prefer like efficient afterburners so that it holds that ideal turn speed in the middle longer. But I still think thrust booster
and
is way
the
better.
other thing keep in mind, you cannot equip two mods of the same color. So look, we got max efficient afterburners. We can't equip you can't equip thrust booster and efficient afterburners because they're the same color. You can't equip finishing guns and improved targeting, and I'll just prove it to you. So you equip it, right? You can. Oh, I don't. Well, we could just craft it so you can see. You can't equip. Oh God, equip it. See, you can't equip it. So two of the same color. So you have two blues, two greens, two reds, two orange, and two purple. So you can't equip. Like it would be awesome to have faster flares and disruptive flares, but you can't do it. So just keep that in mind, guys. Sorry, go ahead, Ace. I just
Oh yeah, so
didn't want to
that's
forget.
basically it for efficient afterburners. Like I said, I don't think it's that good. I think it's
Yeah, I
junk.
think it's garbage.
It
I won't put it on
yeah,
any. I
it's
won't put it on any plane ever. So
Yeah. So, yeah. You might put it on a plane, like I said, if there's a plane you hate and you go from like 1150 to 1200 just to take it to 1200 every season and you just hate the plane, I mean, you could do that just so you have some sort of mod on it, but in
yeah,
general,
but
it's not really going to help you.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
if you have nothing
Um,
else. Like there's much better mods than to put on it. So you can see, I'd
yeah.
rather have improved targeting and ideal maneuvering over that if I had to. So or streak armor.
Yeah.
So
So the number 9 mod on the list is going to be ideal maneuvering.
garbage. Yeah. So
Yeah. So I would say I wouldn't mind like if you. I don't think you should put it on any plane. There are some planes
I don't want to upgrade
that.
it on here, but I'll
No,
click
I know
on.
the numbers. I know the
Yeah,
numbers.
I'll
I
click
think
on
level
one.
1 is 15%,
I have it on
and
the
then
plane.
max is.
I have it on the Frogfoot. So or no, ideal maneuvering. I have it. Which one? I think you told me to put it on the F4 that time, and I did. And
I don't. No, that was Daredevil.
no, so I
If
put it on
anything, I
one
told you to put
plane.
it on like the M2K.
I put it on one plane. Let's find which one I put it on. Go ahead. You keep talking while I find it.
Yeah, so level one's minus 15% deceleration while turning. The problem is that that's at the ideal turn speed or higher than the ideal turn speed. One of the times you need it the most is when like you hit a rock or you brake check someone and you need to rebuild your speed. So it's to prevent you from not losing your speed when you're already going fast. It would be better if it was just flat minus 35% deceleration at all speeds. It would also be better if it increased the ideal turn speed range. So, like that ideal turn speed bar was wider, so you get to stay at that max turn rate for a longer time. But anyways, it's just junk. There is a handful of planes that can sometimes benefit from it. Um, the number one plane I would use it on is going to be the M2K because the M2K bleeds the most speed when it turns. Actually, can you go to the turn speed chart?
Yeah. Oh, here it is.
Oh, there it is.
I have. I know I put it on one plane. Which plane is this?
You put it on the Su-25.
Somebody told me to
What?
put that on the Su-25 once.
Oh, that guy's crazy. What are you
I don't
doing?
remember who it was, so you can't do two. I don't want to forget this. So it's 35%.
Yeah. Well,
All
I
right,
said that. But
it's
anyways,
the
yeah,
max.
junk.
Okay.
Yeah, I put the Daredevil back on.
Yeah, I don't want to forget.
Whoever told you that really scammed you, bro.
I don't remember who it was. I think we were playing bots or something. But so go to the chart. Yeah, I got you. It's all right.
Yeah, so this chart, just so you guys know, it is outdated, but it has information that Starform doesn't give to you. So at the bottom of this chart, actually go to the very top actually, just so you can see the oh my gosh, whoever made it spelled interceptor wrong. Yeah, scroll it to the very top, like so we
Yeah.
can see like the titles of it. So yeah, if you read the top of it, so it has the fighter on the left, the turn rate. So the F-16 is 39.9 because this guy actually flew the planes and saw the numbers. So this is the actual number you'll see in the game. Um, but what we're looking at is the sustained turn performance. So what he did was he got the plane just above the ideal turn speed. And actually you'll see it as you're flying. There's a yellow like box that'll light up like on the left of your HUD. There's it shows your speed as an arrow that goes up and down, and when it gets to the ideal turn speed, that little box turns like yellow. That means you're at your max turn rate. So what he did was he took the plane, like just banked left, like just turned left, and then counted how many seconds without afterburner it went from the top of the ideal turn speed to the bottom. So basically, he just counted how many seconds it was holding the max turn rate. So the F5, it's going to hold that max turn rate for over 15 seconds. So if you want to like loop a point on airsup, you're going to get that 39 turn rate for a really long time. But what we're looking at is the very bottom. So the bottom of the list is you can zoom in a little bit.
Yeah, the
Um,
M2K.
yeah, the bottom of the list is these are the planes that bleed speed a good bit when they turn. So a big one is going to be the M2K. So under 2 seconds of like you're gonna get that 39 turn rate, but for under 2 seconds if you're not using afterburners. So that's junk. So minus 35%, which is a decent number. It's over a third. Deceleration from turning is going to allow you to hold that 39 turn rate longer in that M2K. And if you're going faster than the ideal turn speed, which is 810 kilometers an hour, it's going to allow you to stay faster longer, which is really important for the M2K because it loses so much speed. But another thing is there is a handful of other planes that can sometimes use it. I wouldn't recommend it. So one of the planes that I would recommend it. So I would not officially recommend it on the J20, but it can be pretty fun to use on it. Fun, not useful in like official matches where you're going to be like
Well, you want to
hitting at a
put
high level.
finishing guns on the J20, right? That's the number one.
Well, only if you're facing Grim, you'll put finishing guns on the
Oh,
J20.
okay, I got you.
The max finishing guns because
On the
makes
F1, you
missiles
wanted
deal more
that
damage.
F111 and J20 are mandatory to have finishing guns on them. We'll explain why in a little bit when we get to finishing
Yeah, we'll,
guns.
we'll explain that, yeah, when we get to finishing guns. So I would say for the J20 and like the Raptor, ideal maneuvering, it's just fun if you just kind of want to fly around and explore a map maybe because you can hold that high speed turns for a long time. Like I put thrust booster and ideal maneuvering on a Raptor and I was holding like a 900 mile an hour turn for a really really long time. So it was fun, but in general, I wouldn't recommend it. You could experiment with it on the M2K, J20, sometimes the GR3 and J10. I still think thrust booster is better. The only other time I would say M2K, J20, and maybe the Su-47. That one does bleed a decent bit of speed when it turns. Also the brand new plane, the RAF, the Rafale,
It's not on
the
here.
F3R.
Yeah.
That one I would officially recommend improved targeting, faster flares. That's what I would do because I'd run that as an interceptor. Most people are going to do Daredevil Disruptive though. That is probably better. But I would say Su-47, RAF, M2K, maybe the J20. And you'll just have to experiment with it. But they can kind of help those, especially because the Su-47 is at loop-de-loop ability, and you bleed a lot of speed. Even though it tells you it's reduced deceleration, you bleed speed. So, anyways, in general, junk. Wouldn't recommend it for any plane officially. I think the M2K is the only plane I'd recommend it for
Yeah, and I put
because
it
that
on
really
the
helps you
frog
out.
foot, and I noticed, and Ace is 100% right. I noticed zero, absolutely zero change in the plane with it. Now that could just be me being an idiot, but I put it on the frog foot, and I noticed it didn't help the frog foot at all. So
Yeah, you want to try and put it on fast planes. The S225 is one of the slowest planes in the game. It's yeah,
I felt no
that's you're
difference,
not
is what I'm
gonna.
saying. So
Yeah,
I felt like it was a waste. I felt like I was at a disadvantage because instead of having one of these mods on here, that I could have had. So anyway, yeah,
but
it's
anyways, so
garbage.
that is gonna be number 9. Number 8, I'm actually gonna say streak armor.
Yeah, I agree with you too for streak armor. I'll go to a jet that I have streak armor on. Actually, wait, did I have it on the A6 or no? Um,
I think you did.
I think I did have it on the A6. Yeah, I did have it on the
Yeah.
A6. Yeah, yeah. So
So every time you kill someone, you just get 50 health, and it slowly degrades. I don't know what the rate is. Maybe like 1 health per second, something like that.
yeah, it lasts a good
Um,
amount of time, but it goes away after.
yeah. So this is good. I would not recommend this because the thing is, this only gives you a bonus after the kill. So let's say you have a farmer, and instead of Daredevil, you put streak armor on it. So you could use disruptive flares, get the kill, and get that little bit of health. But if someone then starts chasing you, you won't be able to evade, and you'll probably die. So the thing is, streak armor.
Good
The
against
problem is when
bots. That's about it.
yeah, it's good against bots
That's
if you
about it.
slam into a bunch of them and you get yeah, it's good against bots. But the thing is though, is like once you take away Daredevil or Disruptive, you're not as good at killing and you won't get the benefits from the streak armor. So it's a little bit of like a double-edged sword. once you take away Daredevil or Disruptive, you don't kill as much. Then the mod itself isn't as useful. So if you could do a third one, maybe. Um,
Yeah,
the
with
only
a third
time
mod,
this,
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, the only time this might be helpful, maybe, is if you're in a light fighter, you get a kill. It gives you that plus 50 armor, and then you won't die. You won't be a one
Now,
shot
if
to
you
an
get two
interceptor.
kills, you get plus 100 armor. So, in something like the farmer, yeah, it could make sense. But then you're giving up Daredevil and Disruptive, which is what makes something like the farmer extremely powerful. So,
Yeah. So maybe a light fighter can get some extra health, so it's not a one shot, but because it degrades over time, it won't be as effective. I have seen people using them on like interceptors, which I think is a little bit goofy. But someone told me that when they dive down for the rearm, it helps them stay alive. And I was like, you don't beat faster flares and improved targeting on an interceptor. So, in general, I would say it's junk. The only planes I would recommend it on are probably
attack
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 planes.
planes,
It's good
yeah.
against bots or attack planes. Probably ones that could survive the head on. So like Su-25 maybe, A6, Su-34. So those planes, it helps you kind of keep that health and keep that rampage going. So like an A10, Su-25, A6, Su-34.
A,
Those planes are
yeah,
not that good at turning. So what you could do is you could chain kills, like just charge. Sometimes even their spawn because they're not good at turning back. And what you do is you get a kill, get that little bit of health to help kind of keep you alive, and you just keep pushing forward with those rockets. Especially the Su-34 because it's fast, has all like over 100 rockets, but it doesn't turn that good. So it's good for just kind of like going straight and just bing
just keep
bonging
in
between
mind with the
targets.
A6 too. By the time you get 4 or 5 kills and you get all this extra armor, you might be out of bullets and rockets
Oh
too.
yeah, I
So
would
keep
not.
that in
Yeah,
mind.
that's why it's tough with the
Maybe the
A6. You
frog
got to
foot
hang
where
by
your
the
guns
rearm.
don't run out, yes, but yeah, if you're just charging straight into their spawn, you might get 4 kills and then you're out of bullets. So
That
just
also
keep that in
includes the
mind.
A4. The A4 gun turns to a pea shooter, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's
Yes,
yeah.
A4. I
With
would
the
keep that in
A6,
mind.
that can be tricky. That's another reason why I don't like the A6. Runs out of bullets and rockets, and then you don't even have missiles. So
Yeah, so
yeah,
it's just a
I think the
garbage
A6
mod.
guns. Yeah, the A6 guns should turn into the pea shooters at least, like the A4, just so you have a little bit of something. But either way, so streak armor, I would not recommend it for any plane. Now if you run out of Daredevil and Disruptive and you want to put it on a plane, I would just say attack planes in general, because those are the ones that are going to usually survive head-ons, and then you could have a little bit more health if you want to go for another head-on or retreat back for health.
Yep, agree 100%. All
All
right,
right, so number seven, I'm actually going to do blast resistance.
which I would have had this at last, but that's just me. I don't have this on any plane.
What?
Actually, yeah,
No.
but that's just me though. Personally, I don't like it. Doesn't fit my style. You got to think. So,
Okay, so blast resistance, it's good because it's passive and it lasts the entire match. I think
what's
at
the
max
max? I don't
level,
want to waste all my
no,
mods.
don't waste it.
Yeah.
Max is, I think it's if it's 2% per level, it's 16%.
So I can upgrade it once just so we see the next one. So yeah, it goes up by 2%. So
Yeah. So at max, it's 16%. That doesn't sound like a lot, but here's the
well, it
thing.
would be
It,
14 to 4, then to 5, 16. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
yeah. So here's the thing. If you're in an ADV and you're facing another ADV, it has let's say you have no flares, right? You pop your decoy, they pop their decoy. Let's say flares don't exist. They shoot two missiles, it hits your decoy. You shoot two missiles, it hits their decoy, right? You both shoot two more missiles, they will die and you won't because it reduces the missile damage. So if you're going yeah, ADV versus ADV, you could survive two of those ADV missiles and still survive. And then if you're in a light fighter, like if you're in an F1 and you get hit by like a J-20 missile, you're not a one shot anymore. J-20s will one shot F1s at max level if they're both at max. With this, you won't be a one shot.
Yeah, that's the only time
Um
maybe to use it is so you don't get one shot at it. One shot means you get hit by one missile and you die.
yeah, actually let me do some math here. So at max level an aardvark missile does 240 damage. You would multiply it by 0.84 to get the final damage. So times 0.84 after the reduction, it's 201 damage. So if you put blast resistance on an F1, it's still going to get one-shotted by an Aardvark, but not a J20.
Okay.
There's some math. There's a couple
So
light fighters
basically,
like
it's
the
a waste. Is what we're
yeah, it
saying.
is. There is a couple light fighters like the farmer and the flogger. If you put blast resistance on a farmer or flogger, which I would not recommend, if you do though, an aardvark will not one-shot them. If you put blast resistance on an F-35, an aardvark will not be able to one-shot it. And because the F-35 is the only non-light fighter at 240 health, it's the only non-light fighter that gets one-shotted by like aardvarks or MiG-31s. An F-35 with blast resistance will tank one hit and not die. So I would not recommend it on any plane, but if you run out of Daredevil and Disruptive and you want to put it on a plane, something to think about is maybe an F1, maybe a light fighter, so it doesn't get one shotted. Like I said, you have to play around with the numbers. An F1 will still get one shotted by an Aardvark with blast resistance, but not a J20. Anyways,
The good
that,
thing
that
is
there's a
you're going
lot
to
of
have
like,
so many of them that it's not going to really matter.
yeah,
Like you could try it out, and then if you don't like it, that's what we were saying before. You could always go back. It's
yeah.
not permanent.
I would
So
say the number one like use in my opinion for it is attack planes because they usually go head on a lot with other attack planes and it's just a bunch of rockets back and forth. But if you could reduce all those rockets by 16% damage, then occasionally you can usually win those head-ons. And also with like an A6, you put blast resistance on that, you can usually win head-ons, and then you can also tank two missiles instead of dying from two missiles. It depends on how much damage the missiles do. Um, I think if there's really low damage missiles like the MiG-21, you could probably survive three of them actually. Actually, I can do the math on that. So I think MiG-21 missiles they do 130 damage. So that'd be 130 times 3,
390.
390 times 0.84, 327. Nope, you'd still die. Ah,
Yeah. So
but
you're better off going with streak armor over blast resistance if you're going to choose one of the two. Is what we're saying.
yeah,
Unless you're
yeah,
not killing people, if you're having like, let's say you're in a match and you're like, man, I'm barely dying. Like, if I just survived one more bullet, I would have survived, and it's happening to you a lot. Then blast resistance might be, when I say bullet, but I mean, you're like, they're just barely getting me every time. Then blast resistance might be for you. But if you're playing
yeah.
planes right, you're not going to be getting one shotted or hit by any interceptors anyway. If you're using light fighters the proper way, so
Yeah, like I said, it's mainly just, in my opinion, good for attack planes. Another thing for attack planes is that it reduces obviously the damage from missiles, but also if you get spawn killed a lot, like a shot at spawn by interceptors, it can kind of help you get to the middle without getting spawn killed as easily, especially if it's not from one of the big hitters like the MiG-31 or the Aardvark or the F-14. If it's like a J-20 or an ADV, it can really help you survive those missiles there because they don't deal as much damage. So for an attack plane, because like an A6 has armor plating already, which reduces gun damage by 64%, and the A6 has jamming. So it has the armor plating, it has the cool engines, and it has jamming. If you put blast resistance on an A6, it's very hard to kill it. Because if you use IRs, it has cool engines. If you use radar, it has jamming. If you use guns, it has armor plating. And if you manage to hit it with rockets, it can has blast resistance. So if you put blast resistance on an A6, it makes it very resistant to almost every type of damage in the game. Anything you could damage it with, it's got a way to prevent it or stop it. Um,
and it could
so
help you if you're brake checking guys too survive that brake check. So, but
if they
anyway,
yeah, if they have missiles or rockets, yeah.
there's
But like I
better
said, I would
mods. So
yeah, there is definitely better mods, but putting it on an attack plane, not a bad idea. If you're in like a if you're in like a F5 or an F1, you're getting one shotted by like J20s a lot, which I don't think most people are. They can use terrain, but in general, I would not recommend it for any plane. Like I said, if you just want to bump up like a Su-34 or an A6, it's not the worst.
All right. What's next?
So up next is going to be finishing guns.
Which is what I have on here now.
Yeah, so not much to say about it. It used to be plus 20% damage if the target was under 50% health, but now it's 30% extra damage if they're under 30% health. In my opinion, I just don't really see the value in that because if they're already under 30% health and you have guns on them,
They're
they're
gonna
gonna
die
die. They
anyway.
should be dying anyway. But you know what? To be fair, sometimes you got guns on someone, they get to one health and they turn a corner, right? And also this can help you, maybe not like uh kill someone and like not win a trade, but guarantee a trade where you make sure both of you die, not just you. So there is a couple of reasons to use it. Another one might be if you're in an A6 or an A4, where you get that kill without using as many bullets. You could save it.
That's why I
Also,
was gonna say that's why I have it on mine, so I don't have to use as many bullets. That's why it's on my
yeah.
A6 because I
Um,
don't have enough mods. I don't have enough Daredevil and Disruptive, so that's why I have finishing guns. But that was the reason I was gonna say for mine.
yeah. And then one of them that I would recommend probably doing is the F5 because the F5 guns you could fire forever
They
just
do so
doesn't
little
deal a lot of
damage. Yeah,
damage. So because you could hold it forever, you know, it's a decent mod for an F5, but Daredevil Disruptive is the best one for that. And then another one that you might want to consider is maybe even the M2K because the M2K deals so much damage, but the overheat time is so short. Sometimes you
could
could
help you
do it
kill
on
them before
like,
you overheat. Yeah,
yeah, sometimes on the RAF, sometimes on the JF-17 Thunder, but on the M2K, the overheat time is under 2 seconds. So if you fire the gun for longer than 1.97 seconds, it'll just overheat.
but you
Or 10
should. With
seconds.
saying that though, you should be putting faster flares on your M2K because you only have two flares, and faster flares. When we get to it, you'll see why. You get an extra flare. So
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
well,
I mean,
some people
Ace
will
is
say
telling you.
disruptive on it.
Yeah, but I'm saying like if you're going to choose between finishing guns and most likely you have more faster flares laying around, you probably want to go. But what Ace is saying is if you don't have any faster, disruptive, or daredevil, I would put the
Yeah.
finishing guns on the
Um,
M2K.
yeah, faster flares is better on the M2K. Because it's the only plane in the game that has two flares. Everything else is three or more. And then you can deploy the flares faster. But another one that's actually not bad with the finishing guns is the Vigan, because it has the longest range guns and the damage is as
Yeah, that
good.
makes sense. Finishing guns on the vegan is
Vigan,
good. Yeah,
now I would never recommend it on a Typhoon, but the Typhoon guns have low damage, so it can help on the Typhoon and the Vigan. But in general, I wouldn't recommend it for any plane. Um, but if you run out of Daredevil Disruptive, you could use it on a handful of planes, but eh.
one
So
of those
yeah.
ones you want to use if you're playing bots to help kill the bots quicker. So, but,
Yeah, that one. Yeah, especially if you like a Vigan, you want to kill bots quicker because the Vigan helps get those kills without flying all the way to each one because it's better range.
and we say if you're
Um,
going against bots, let's say you're going for an icon and you're playing mostly bots and you want to get the matches over quicker. You're going to put the best mods on to get the matches over quicker because you're most likely playing bots. But then you got to keep in mind if you end up getting real people when you're farming an icon, you got to be able to have mods on there that'll help you give you the best chance to win too. So keep that in mind when you're deciding.
all right, so now we are at the halfway point. We did 6 through 10. Up next is number 5, and that one is going to be improved targeting. So improved targeting,
And I'll go to a plane I have it max on. Which interceptors you want to, like we said in the beginning, you want to be putting improved target, even though it's number 5 on the list. On an interceptor, you want to be putting improved targeting on your interceptors. So
Yeah, so the lock speed's plus 20%. That's a little bit misleading. I mean, yes, it says lock speed, but I would actually say minus 20% would make more sense, right? Because you're subtracting how fast it locks.
yeah,
Like,
this is just saying how much quicker it locks.
I guess it is lock speed. If it said lock time, it should say minus 20%. But anyways, so it locks 20% faster. The lock angle is plus 25%. What that means is the lock ring is gonna be like bigger. So that helps if, you know, uh
Helps you, especially with something like the F-14, where you have this blueprint right here, multi-lock. It makes your ring bigger and means that you can target more. If you're using this blueprint, you can target more aircraft in a wider range, is what Ace is saying. So that
Yeah,
circle,
it also helps with like J-20s or other
yeah,
free look planes, so that if you like the J-10 and RAF, they only free look so much, but if the ring is wider, then you could free look, maybe get a little bit, a little bit of a good lock, but in general, it's mainly the lock speed is why people do it. Now, what's interesting is the rocket lead range can be really helpful. A lot of people don't think about that. Rocket lead range, that rocket reticle is going to show up quicker and from farther away. So this is good for Su-25s. You can snipe from 30% farther away. Now, your rockets won't be as accurate because planes move and it has to fly farther. But if the plane's coming right at you, like if an aardvark or a J-20 is going slow or pointed at you, then you could just fire it because they're not turning. Um, Another thing which really helps is if you're in a attack plane, like if you're in an A6 or Su-34 and you're slowly coming towards each other but to head on, you can hold your brakes
yeah,
and fire your rockets before they can, and
yes,
they're going to be way more accurate, especially the Su-25. I always recommend you brake check early so you don't get too close and head on, and then just slam all your rockets into them, and then they won't even be able to get close enough for their rocket reticle to even turn on. Um, so another niche thing that is useful is putting this. It's iffy. Some people don't agree, but it's generally if you have a level 3 nuke, I would put on it on the F-106 because the nuke range is increased by 30%. It increases your chances of nuking someone and getting out of there alive.
because the nuke is considered
Um,
a rocket.
yeah. So in general, the number one plane to use it for is interceptors. You can use it for attack planes and the F-106. Um, yeah, launches an unguided nuclear rocket. And actually, if you click on the top right, um,
Top left, you mean?
no, top right,
What am I
yeah, the
clicking
X,
on? Oh,
and then you click on just the rocket itself, the
oh,
nuke. Yeah, it says at the top one rocket.
yeah.
So, also what's interesting about the F-106 is if you click the missile button, the missiles slowly drop down. No, the missiles.
Oh,
You're on the guns. On the left, you click the button. Boom! Look at those missiles. They drop down. This plane and the Su-47 are the only non-stealth planes with concealed missiles that drop in the hangar. Like the Aardvark has concealed missiles, but this and the Su-47 are the only planes that actually like have that animation. It's
yeah.
pretty cool. Anyways, so with a rocket deals 600 damage, so you'll be able to one-shot anything. So I think a GR3 with the ability could technically survive, but that's at full health if you time it right. So for the improved targeting, I would put it on all of your interceptors. If you want to have Daredevil and Disruptive, because there's only 4 interceptors, you can use it pretty liberally. It's good for the F-106 and some attack planes, maybe the
I'm
Su-25.
actually
Other
going to
than
try
that,
it on my A6 here because we got to get it to 1200. So I'm going to
yeah,
actually
because
try it
it's the
out.
only plane. Yeah, it's the only plane without any missiles. I'm gonna count the Beam Riders as missiles. It's the only plane in the game with no missiles at all. So your highest range attack is going to be the rockets. So getting that a little bit earlier to
Yeah,
be able to shoot them.
see, I learned
Yeah.
something here too, guy. Ace made sense when he said rocket range. I've lost a lot of I traded where I should have won head-ons in the A6 because they got too close to me. Um, so that might make sense over finishing guns. But I just have finishing
Yeah,
guns on my A6 because it runs out of bullets. That's why. But
yeah. So, but like I said, if you do put improved targeting on an attack plane, you always want to make sure to brake check the head on.
you
So
know,
hold your brakes, and then so
and
you
in
can
something like the
extend.
A6, your range is so limited, so you're either head on with them or behind them. You know what I'm saying? So it makes sense on the A6. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, buddy.
No, 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 you're good. You're good. You're good.
I was just saying, like the
Um,
A6, you have nothing. Everything's short. Like the furthest is zero point 0.9 on the guns and 1.5. So that would take it to like 2 kilometers with the improved targeting, maybe a little bit more. So that might make sense. I might try that. So we'll see. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do it right now while we're talking about it. Improved targeting.
yeah. So if you just want to make sure to brake check the head on, so you get that distance advantage at from a longer time. Same thing with like the Vigan. You want to slow down so you don't get too close in the head ons, so that you can extend that advantage. Because if you're moving too fast, then they're gonna their rocket reticle is gonna pop up right after yours. Um, on the A, have you tried blast resistance on the A6?
No, I haven't tried it.
Dude, you survived those rockets and missiles deal less damage. Man, it might be worth a try.
Well, we're going to try it. I'm going to take your advice. We're going to do it right now.
Because here's the thing, like I said, if you slow down
It's because
and
I don't
shoot the
have what I
rockets,
want to put on here is Daredevil and Disruptive, guys. But I have no Daredevil, and I don't want to waste my Disruptive flares, especially on the A6 when I'm trying to build these up, and I still have planes that aren't max Disruptive. So and then I'm going to bring my ADV to level 20. So it's going to be a long, long, long time before I can put Daredevil and Disruptive on here. So we're actually going to try what Ace is what he's telling us here, guys. And we're going to I just removed it. So we're going to actually try this. Blast resistance and improved targeting. We're going to try it out because I'm struggling in this A6 at level 20.
yeah,
So,
so that's going to be helpful if, like I said, you're doing a lot of head-ons, which is what the A6 is pretty good at. Like I said, if you slow down, you shoot the rockets at them first, right?
yeah.
Theoretically,
And
you
that's all
shoot
I'm
more
doing in the
damage.
A6 is head-ons. Like, you know what I mean? If I'm getting behind them, I'm killing them anyway. Doesn't matter, and I need to survive the head-on. So that makes a lot of sense. This makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so you'll deal rocket damage to them first. By the time they start hitting you with rockets, they'll deal less damage. So the chances of you surviving that head on is a lot better. Again, this also, I mean, it's good for any plane because, like, let's say a light fighter turns a corner, you have armor plating for the guns and you have blast resistance for the missiles. So you're reducing all damage. You got jamming, cool engines, blast resistance,
Making the
armor plating.
A6 harder to kill. That's what it's
Yeah,
doing. Yeah.
it makes it harder to kill for every type of munition in the whole game, you know? So it just kind of rounds it out. Anyways, so that is number 5.
And before we do the next one, let's give the gold code away. Told you we are going to give it away. I didn't forget, guys. So we're going to give away a gold code for 100 free gold right now while Ace is getting the next one available. And let's get to it. So we're going to give it away from our last video. So this is a live stream. Our last video. So not very much blueprints from 50. All right. So if you want to win one of these codes, guys, we've said it a million times. Make sure you're subscribed. You have to leave a comment and hit this like button. Okay? Make sure you're doing that. Otherwise, this picker right here is not going to pick you. So, if you win a free, if you're the winner, we'll tell you what to do at the end of the video here. So we're not going to interrupt it. But Jake, or that's not even Jake. I can't. You guys, his names. He just says hello, everyone. JAVERIKHALID 6449. We'll show that at the end, and if this is you, we'll show you how you can claim your prize. All right, go ahead, Ace.
But you got to read out the code.
It's a code for
So we
100
can get
free
it.
gold. What's that?
Yeah, I know, but no, you have to read out the code for him.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
Don't worry, I won't steal it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, read out his code. Give the first person the code.
Yep, the first person.
His code is Gold Digger, all caps. All right, go ahead, Ace.
All right. So that was number five. Number four is where we started to get to the good ones, in my opinion.
Wait, did we just do finishing guns or no?
Finishing guns was number six.
All right, so we forgot to tell you guys. You want to put finishing guns before we forget. It was a joke. You want to put finishing guns on your J20. The reason why, or on your F111. There's a reason why we were joking about that, and I just want to clear that up. The J20 has no guns. The F111 has no guns. So that's why we were saying they were a must on the J20 and F111. There's no guns. So do not put finishing guns on your J20 or your F111 unless you're being funny. So anyway, go ahead, Ace. Sorry.
Oh, also, just to finish up improved targeting, it can also be pretty useful on sometimes like a felon or an ADV. They have a lot of missiles, but in general, if a plane has eight missiles, like a heavy fighter, um, yeah, ADV is pretty helpful on.
Yeah, there's so many
Actually,
missiles and
it can also be pretty helpful on the GR3 because it has medium range rockets that shoot pretty far, and it has infrared missiles. So that's one of those things where GR3 and ADV can be pretty
I think
helpful.
the GR3 has
Uh,
medium range heat seekers. It doesn't have medium range rockets, right?
the rockets have it's the second highest rocket range in the
Oh,
game.
okay. Okay. I just make sure you didn't misspeak.
I mean,
So.
technically they are short range, but they are um the Su-25 is 6 kilometer, and I think these
Oh,
ones
2.5. Yeah,
the
you're right. That is a long range. Okay. Yes, you're definitely right.
it's longer range.
Now,
So
the
you
Su
include that.
25 is longest range, but you only have six. He's talking about when you have a lot.
Yeah,
2.5.
so this has 76, but because it's percentage based, you get more value out of like 30% of a bigger number. You get more value out of it.
Oh, this is the same as the SE22
No,
range.
that's 1.5. The Su-22 is 1.5.
What was the It was 2.5 on the GR3, was
2
it?
point 2.5 in the GR3.
Okay.
Su-22 is 1.5.
So everything else is going to be 1.5 then.
I
Okay.
would assume, yeah,
Yeah.
1.5. So yeah,
Okay.
2.5 is, and like I said, so you're hitting them with rockets before they hit you, and if you get that 30% advantage, you're going to usually survive a lot better.
Yeah, everything else is going to be 1.5. Okay. All right. All right. So what was the next one, buddy?
So the next one is going to be number four, which is going to be thrust booster. This is actually one of my favorite mods in the game. So the cool thing is you get plus 10% max speed and 30% better acceleration while under 50% fuel. If you watch your fuel gauge the whole match, you can maintain this the whole match. You just stay under 50% fuel the whole time. So really helps interceptors climb. Now, of course, the official mods for interceptors is faster flares and improved targeting. But let's say you run out of those, you could try it. Um, it is also helpful if you don't have good mods for your M2K. It helps it build up more speed, or any Delta Wing. I would say any Delta Wing plane in the game, you could put thrust booster on it because it gets you speed faster, gets you a higher top speed, then which gives you longer, more turning when you brake. And then when you brake to turn, you need to re-accelerate, regain speed all the time. So that acceleration bump really helps you. It also helps on air sup. If you're trying to get to a point, you accelerate faster, but that 10% top speed helps you get there a lot faster. So looping a point, it can be helpful, but getting to that point, if you like only a couple seconds left and you really need to get to that point really fast, that can help. Another thing is, which is kind of interesting, is anything with a fuel special, like a Fulcrum or a MiG 31, you could activate it when you're low on fuel to maintain that top speed and acceleration bump. Anything with a fuel special. So if there's a crappy plane, I think the Su-33 has the fuel special, and if you activate that when it's low, you get more of that benefit because you're still under 50% fuel. So, um, But in general, it just helps a lot of planes get speed faster, moves faster. Yeah. So if you use that ability when you're really low on fuel, you maintain that thrust booster and it's still active. Um, but another thing is what's kind of interesting about the mod is the top speed, that's 10%, is the same way at level 1 and max level. Upgrading it only upgrades the acceleration. So that's actually kind of interesting. So what I like to do is if there's a really crappy plane, I'll just put a level 1 thrust booster on there because acceleration, yeah, sure, it gets you to that top speed, but you can hold that top speed all the way to that point. So um I would really, yeah. So I would recommend that plane,
That's
that
if you
mod.
don't have any of
Yeah,
Daredevil and
yeah,
Disruptive again, guys. All these mods we're going over, we're going to get to it. Like Ace said, you want Daredevil and Disruptive on every plane in the game. And then interceptors, you want improved targeting and faster flares. But you're not going to have unlimited Daredevil, Disruptive, faster flares, and improved targeting. So these are your next best options.
yeah. But yeah, thrust boosters, I really like it. I really like thrust booster. It just makes you faster, accelerate faster. It's really, really fun on a Raptor, really fun on a J20, really, really fun and effective on the Raptor and F-16. What's also interesting is on a farmer, because you can hold the afterburners forever, you can actually get to zero, hold them forever, and you keep that max speed and acceleration bump the entire time. Um, until your afterburners break, of course. But so that's actually really cool. Um, and I want to think. I like to use it on the F4, Su-47. Some people say they like to use it on attack planes because it helps them not stall as much when they go up to grab rearms. They can build up more speed before they go up, like in a J-35 or like an A-6 or Su-25. Also, if you die, it helps you get into the battle faster, but I still wouldn't recommend it for those planes because it's percentage based. So if you have a low top speed, plus 10% isn't going to be as effective. If you have a low acceleration, like an A6, plus 30% isn't going to be as effective. So
Yeah.
this is really effective for high acceleration, high top speed planes like the M2K. It can help the RAF. It's not the best on it. F-16, it's a huge boost on the F-16. It's a good boost on the Farmer. Um, Raptor really, really helps. I would recommend it. Like I said, if you run out of Daredevil or Disruptive, I would highly recommend trying this mod out on any plane with Delta Wing. Any plane that has Delta Wing, it's going to bleed speed when it turns. This mod is going to really help it out. I think that's how they balance the trait, the Delta Wing trait, is it bleeds speed when it turns. What that means is when you turn, you lose more speed, like the M2K. So, and with the Delta Wing plane, turning or speed is a currency because it helps you turn harder longer. So you like I say, you build up, you bank more speed because you have higher top speed, and it recovers speed a lot faster. So highly recommended on test it out on different of your favorite air sub planes and Delta Wing planes.
Okay.
So number 3 is going to be faster flares. So faster flares is a really good mod. Like it says, you get an extra flare, and the flare cooldown is minus 60%. This actually allows you to flare at the same rate people can fire missiles at you, which is really cool. What you can also do is, if you guys did not know, you can hold the flare button down. So if you're on a phone, you can just hold your finger on the screen. If you're on a controller, you can just hold that button down, or a PC, just hold the button down. It will constantly, automatically keep spewing them out. This will change your flare color to blue, which is pretty cool too. Matches the Su afterburners, like the Su-47 has those blue afterburner, um, the blue exhaust. But it's really helpful because you get that extra flare. And like I said, you can flare as fast as people can fire missiles at you. So let's say you're in an interceptor, which I recommend it for all interceptors. Sometimes even like the ADV, depends how you use it. So you would fly up as an interceptor, fire missiles down like an aardvark. But when people shoot a bunch of missiles at you, because the aardvark doesn't have stealth, you can actually dive down for the rearm, holding that flare button. And when you're getting all that speed going for the rearm, people have a hard time hitting you. So, really good for interceptors. I would recommend it for all interceptors. It can also be helpful for light fighters because they traditionally have only three flares usually, and it helps them avoid getting killed by interceptors. I would also recommend it on the M2K again if you run out of good mods for it. The M2K is highly debatable on what mods you're supposed to use. I actually prefer to use thrust booster and ideal maneuvering just to keep the speed on it going, keep it more fluid. Um, I've seen a lot of people in Grim run Daredevil Disruptive or Disruptive Flares and Thrust Booster. That's a good mod set for it. But faster flares really helps the M2K because it only has two flares. That's the only plane in the game that's less than three. So you get that extra flare and you can flare faster. So, um, also, faster flares is fantastic for any plane that has the flare reload trait. Like the Raptor, you can get 8 disruptive flares or 10 back-to-back faster flares. This allows you to just spew out flares in this fast, high-turning stealth plane. Very similar to the J-20. You get 5 flares. So with the reload, you get 10. With the mod, you get 12. That's right, 12 back-to-back faster flares at 30,000 feet. Really high speed. Of course, you have stealth. And just everything that goes along with it. Delta wing, if you want to turn right before the missile hits, get a little bit better turning. Um, but with flare reload, it just becomes absolutely crazy. You can just spew out flares all day. That's why J20s are so hard to kill because they got all that speed, stealth. And even if you do fire on them, they're just spewing out flares. You get 12 of them. So 12 of them is enough to get you until your stealth turns back on, and then you could dive down for the rearm. So really, really good mod. It does reduce the flare's effectiveness. All flares last 1.5 seconds. This mod reduces the flare's effectiveness down to 1.25 seconds. That's in an old patch notes when they changed it. So the flares itself won't be as effective, but I don't notice much of a difference, to be honest. If you flare at the right time, it just has a slight less margin for error. But I would recommend flaring when the beeping gets to its fastest rate. So, but yeah, faster flares is fantastic. I recommend it for every single interceptor. Um, and if you do run out of, your good mods, maybe on some light fighters,
I've seen
maybe on
people
some.
really do well. Like, Flu runs a guy in Vanguard. He runs faster flares on his MiG 21, and he does just as well as I do with disruptive flares. So,
Yeah, it could be helpful. Sometimes even attack planes, if you're getting spawn camped, like let's say you're on Stone Forest or Crucible and there's like a J-20 firing a bunch of missiles, you can just keep hitting that flare button and waste their missiles, right? So you kind of have to play around with it, but it definitely is good for or any plane. Like I plan to put it on my RAF because I'm going to use that as an anti-stealth. So I need to be able to fly up, shoot missiles, and survive coming down on the trip down. The only way
yeah.
you're going to do that is if you have constant flares. So it's also good on the ADV because the ADV has 4 flares. With this, you go to 5, and you have a lot of health, and you have the tow decoy. So you can use tow decoy, then hit that flare button over and over and over, and you really stay alive. So on the ADV, if you run it as an interceptor and you fly high, you can put improved targeting and faster flares. It allows you to get your missiles out faster and allows you to survive a lot better and longer. So, it can also be good if planes just have a low amount, like the farmer has only 3. Um, so it's interesting because if you have like an M2K, like if you put disruptive flares on it, it's a good mod, but you only have 2. I don't know if wasting you only have 2 of them and you run out pretty fast. So maybe faster flares is better because you get a third one, you can dodge more missiles, and you can fly the M2K higher and longer, um, because you have that extra flare.
I'm
So
putting faster flares on my M2K at 20, 100%. because two
Yeah.
flares on an M2K is just not enough. But that's just me.
Especially because all the IRs that are out now, like the RAF IRs, the chaff doesn't work on them.
Yeah.
They
Yep.
gave you two, they reduced it all the way down to two because you have chaff. Oh, just use the chaff. But with all the IRs out there, MiG 31 IRs, RAF IRs, just IRs in general, you know, and just, missiles in general. What if you run out of chaff? Because if you're a really good player, you'll stay alive a long time in the M2K.
Yeah.
And the chaff you never get back. So you have to rely on flares. And if you only have two, you got to go to the rearm a lot, which requires turning, which you lose speed. So in my opinion, faster flares is a good mod. If you want to run the M2K just like a head-on plane, where you just kill two people, die, kill two people, die,
Yeah.
disruptive flares
Then you
okay.
need disruptive. Yeah.
Yeah, but faster flares, just put it on all your interceptors. Then you can start experimenting. If you want to run like a Raptor, like an interceptor, or something like an ADV that you want to go up and get vision in, like even like a flogger. I like it in the flogger because I can use the flare burst and the faster flares to get vision longer and distract people. Um, but planes like the um what's interesting is the Su-30 is not a good plane, but because of the flare reload and it doesn't have stealth, you can use the Su-30 like a missile magnet to bait missiles. So what you do is you fly up, use faster flares. I would recommend taking your Su-30 to 20, but if it already is, this is something you could do is it comes with four flares. With flare reload, you have five. You could bait more missiles, and you could just hold that flare button and dodge a bunch of them, go for the rearm, and you distract people, waste their missiles, divert their attention. So, on planes with the flare reload, it bumps it from four to five. Flare reload gives you 10. 10 flares is a lot. Dodge a lot of missiles with that. So just a really helpful mod. It's, yeah, really nice.
All right. Now to the final two.
Yeah, I think we all know what the final two are.
Yep.
There could be an argument to put either one of them at number one or two.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
thinking we're just going to say they're both equally as important, and they both have different. But I'll let Ace tell you that they're
yeah,
like I was telling Ace when we were deciding. He said Daredevil at number one, Disruptive at number two, and I think Disruptive is more important. But when I'm playing my farmer on my main account here at level 20s, and then I play my farmer on my alt account, I never complain, oh, I wish I had my disruptive. I wish I had my disruptive. It's always, I wish I had my Daredevil. The same thing with the F100. Anything that I have Daredevil on, I'm always complaining. Like my F100, I have Daredevil. My F5, I have Daredevil. Um, so I agree with Ace, what he's about to say. So go ahead, buddy.
yeah. So I put disruptive flares at number two. A lot of people might disagree, but because it's a ranking list, you have to rank them. One has to be higher than the other. The reason I put it at number two instead of number one is because you can run out of it. You can never run out of Daredevil. You just stay under the rocks the whole time. But this one, like everyone puts it on their farmer, right? But you only have three. And here's the thing: if you use them for missiles, that's less you have for guns. If you use them for guns, that's less you have for missiles if someone shoots you at range. So if you're in a plane like a farmer or planes with only three flares, you run out of them pretty fast. And if you're an air sub guarding a point and you run out, like let's say you're in a farmer and you go to your home point and you run out, you can either A, sit there with no flares at all, so guns and missiles will both kill you, or you could try to use terrain, or you could try to go all the way back to a rearm, then all the way back. And that typically isn't worth it on air sub. So it's one of the best mods in the game, but um we can kind of go over it. So when you're flaring, they can achieve missile lock and enemy gun lead range at max levels minus 80%. So for most of the time, they won't have any gun reticle at all. So even playing people that are on PC or don't even use cannon aim assist, if there's no reticle, they don't really know where to aim their guns unless it's a head on. They just point at your plane. So this actually prevents people from killing you head on. It also helps head ons because it prevents you from achieving missile lock for 0.5 seconds. Now, the flares last 1.5. The gun disruption lasts 1.5 seconds. The blocking the missile lock used to last 1.5 seconds. It was basically a 1.5 second stealth, but they nerfed it to zero point 0.5 seconds. What is good is in that zero point 0.5 seconds, it will interrupt locks. So if you're in a head on and someone's locking and they just about to lock on, it'll stop it altogether, get rid of all of its progress. Now they got to re-lock on again. So it's really good for head-ons. It's good if someone's chasing you, you can hit the flare button and move. I would highly recommend using this on every plane in the game except interceptors. I have seen people say, "Oh, use it on the J-20 because when you fire a missile, people start to lock, you can hit the flare button, and then your stealth turns back on. It helps bridge that gap and get you back to stealth. The problem is you have to rapid fire those missiles to get through their flares. So I would recommend on every single plane in the game except for interceptors. Every single plane in the game, you get close to people. Every single plane in the game, except for two, except for some interceptors, have guns. Therefore, you're going to get close to people. If you get close to people, they're going to shoot guns back, and you're going to need to survive. So this is also really, really it multiplies its effectiveness if you have fast planes that turn fast. So it's harder to kind of improvise your aim. It's also really, really good for planes with flare reload. So an F-16 has flare reload, Raptor has flare reload. Um, Su-30, again, I would not recommend taking your Su-30 to max level. I would not recommend taking your F-15 to level 20, but they both have flare reload. So it kind of really adds to that because you get double the flares. If you stay alive long enough, you can keep hitting that flare reload button. Actually, at max level, the F-16 or every flare reload goes down to 50 seconds at max level. So if you're at an F-16 and you're going to enemy point on intercept, you can keep hitting that flare reload button and you get more and more and more. So it's really, really effective um, on the farmer, especially because you can usually win those head-ons because beam riders reach out. But uh, also the Vigan, because you can reduce their gun reticle range and yours is higher. Sometimes people will use disruptive flares and you will actually still see the gun reticle because your range is just so high. Not everyone has max disruptive flares too, because it's very hard to one of the more rare mods because everyone uses it. So I would say use it on every single plane in the game except interceptors. And if you plan to run like an ADV or a Raptor on Stone Forest, like as an interceptor, then faster flares would be better. It just depends on what you're doing. If you're getting close, disruptive flares. If you're flying really high and only shooting missiles that match, then try faster flares. But in 90%, 99% of planes, disruptive flares is just really, really good.
I agree. Now, the Daredevil and Disruptive, they just go hand in hand. So,
Yeah, they tried to balance it, but it didn't really work. They did make faster flares really good, but disruptive flares is still better because because no other thing in the game like blocks guns. Yeah, there's armor plating, but it kind of doesn't make you invincible, but it makes you really almost impossible to kill for that 1.5 seconds. Because it blocks missiles, guns. If and actually I'll give you a tip on the disruptive flares. The only thing disruptive flares doesn't stop or slow down is rockets. So you can use rocket planes, especially rockets and beam riders. So if someone's using disruptive flares a lot, you could try using a farmer's beam riders or like a Su-25 rockets. So if light fighters like farmers and F-16s are really annoying, you could try using a Su-25. Those rockets can ignore disruptive flares. So rockets are the only thing that doesn't have a warning. So if someone has guns on you, it'll pop up guns warning. If they have missiles, you'll see that missile lock warning. Rockets have no warning. Beam riders have no warning, and they ignore disruptive flares. So just a tip: use beam riders, use rockets, especially the Su-25 rockets. They will knock out light fighters. Um, so then number one, of course, is going to be Daredevil turning. So while you're within 300 meters of terrain, your turn rate is boosted by 20%. So because it's a percentage number, of course, it's more effective and useful on the higher turn rate planes like the F-16. But I would recommend it for every single plane in the game except interceptors because that turn rate bump is so huge. Like on an F-16, you'll turn at like 47 degrees instead of 39. It's just crazy good. Really good on airstep, of course. Really good on light fighters. Really good on like the F5, F-16 Raptor. Really good on anything actually. Um, and the thing is, you might think, oh, I might want this mod or that mod. The problem is, everybody else is going to use it, and if you don't use it and they do, they will outturn you every time. There was a guy who had a level 4 Daredevil, and I had a level 5, and I slowly kept outturning him and finally killed him every time in air sup. So, this mod is just good on every plane, even like the A6, the Su-25.
Yes.
Those planes, you bump up their turn rate. You can turn because you have to because those planes you really have to head a lot of planes on to line up the guns and rockets, deal the most damage. But to get that head on, you have to turn that plane. So also, Daredevil turning makes you a better player. In general, you should always fly close to terrain. A, so you stay off the radar. B, so you avoid missiles. And C, so you can be more effective in air sup. You can loop that point. So if that Daredevil turns off, you know what? I probably shouldn't take that path or take that route again. So what it does is, on every map, you can keep your Daredevil on while you're looping the point. The only exception is the outside points of Stone Forest. Your Daredevil will turn off occasionally when you're looping it because it's that the control point is over 300 meters away from terrain. On every other map, on every other point, you could stay in terrain the entire time, keep your Daredevil on the entire time. Makes you a better player. You should always stay near terrain unless you are in an interceptor or plane that flies up, maybe like an M2K, ADV, stealth. Um, Other than that, you should be staying close to terrain. At the start of the match, fly low, activate that Daredevil, stay near terrain most of the match. Like I said, it makes you a better player. And at the bottom, you'll see it turn gray or then purple when it's activated on all mods. You'll see when they flicker on and off. Same thing with like stealth. You'll see traits turn on and off when they're active. So focus on when that mod is turning on and off, and that'll really help you just turn better, stay alive longer. Um, One of the things that's interesting is in the middle, so when the match starts, you can actually click on mods and Bruce, go to your match history. See if you can find a level 20 match.
It should be the last match. No, we played the A6 right here, level 20
All right,
match.
so when you start the match, you can click the equipment button at the top and click on Maverick's Daredevil. So you could do this right. No, go back. So yeah, click on
Oh
that.
God, what am I
That
doing?
was close. Right on it. Yeah.
Okay.
Boom. So you can tell he has max Daredevil because it's turn rate 20%. So at the very beginning of the match, you can open up the scoreboard, click equipment, and click, okay, it's 80%. That's max. So hold on, go back to that. Improve targeting. See at lock speed, only 15%. So now you know that's not at max because max is 25%. So max is 20% actually, yeah.
Doesn't work for the
So that might
blueprint.
be
No.
no. So that it means it's probably level 3.
Oh yeah, he doesn't
So
even have Max Daredevil on his GIF.
max disruptive, right? That's only minus 60%, and it's 10% each level. So that's going to be level. I think it's level 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so or about that level.
Yeah. Right.
Only 13%.
Yeah.
So that it's 2% each level. So now that's probably level 2 or 3. Probably level yeah, probably level 2. Um. So when the match starts, you can look through their mods, see their mod levels. And if you see, like, if you're an air sub and you see their F-16 has plus 17% turn rate or plus 15% turn rate, you know yours is max, or if it is max, you can outturn them. If you start the match and you have 17 turn rate and they have 20% turn rate because theirs is max, you don't want to get into a turn battle with them because they will outturn you. So this is just a mod, just tip in general. anytime you start a match, look through their mods. What level are they and what are they? That's going to help you out. So if you see if you're like an interceptor and you see an F1 or an F-16 that's faster flares, probably shouldn't fire at it and waste your missiles. Um, Another thing is if you're looking in the hangar, you can also click on mods before the match even starts to see your buddy's mods levels. So, um, yeah, I would say Daredevil is a little bit above Disruptive Flares because A, you can run out of Disruptive Flares. Like I said, on the F-16, or I mean, sorry, on the Farmer, you only get three. So once you're out, you're out. So if you're heading to the enemy point and you use it to evade a missile or two, guess what? When you're holding the enemy point or holding home, you only have one or two for guns. Another reason why I did Daredevil a hair above Disruptive Flares is because Disruptive Flares is only good if someone's attacking you. Daredevil turning can be active the entire match. So if you're going to the enemy point on airsup, you run out of flares, your Daredevil's still on forever. Never runs out. As long as you're close to terrain, never runs out. So, um, and you Disruptive Flares sometimes encourages people to head on, where you're trying to outmaneuver them and get behind them. So Daredevil, in my opinion, makes you a better player because you helps you remind you to stay to closer to terrain for the majority of the match, and it helps you get behind people rather than try to head them on. So, but Daredevil and Disruptive are the best mods. I'd recommend that you put them on all your planes except for interceptors. So, yeah, that's the top 10 list.
We agree 100%. So, recap: Daredevil and Disruptive on everything but interceptors, and interceptors improve targeting and faster flares. And then you can do something like, what do I have here? Oh, I still have improved targeting and streak armor, like Ace said, which I learned something new during this video too, while I'm waiting for Daredevil and Disruptive. But I'm also going to save my Daredevil and Disruptive because the A6 is a plane you're going to take from 1150 to 1200, right? If I'm going to pick an attack plane, let's say, all my planes are equal trophies, all at 1200, and then I'm in a party and they say, hey, bring an attack plane. Obviously, not going to take my A6 over my SC-25, or I'm not going to take my SC-25 over my A4. Let me get over here, and then you see, like here, I'm waiting to get Max Daredevil here, so I'm still working on that. So obviously, the A6 is going to be a plane that I'm going to just go from 1150 to 1200, which I'm working on right now. I'm trying to get it back up to 1200. And then, like I said, if I'm going to pick a plane, obviously, out of all my attacks at level 20, I'm going to want my A4, obviously, or my SU-25. Pretty much equal depending what you're playing. So, yeah, I appreciate your help, Ace. Guys, if you have any questions, put them in the comments. Like I said, if you're still here, we appreciate you watching. I'll also put a link in the description for the Facebook group if you haven't joined yet. We do have a YouTube subscriber Facebook group. The link for that will be in the description. And we shall see you guys on the next video. Thanks.